So Joe Biden, right? He got elected on the most progressive platform in American history, as they say, which is, you know, some of the biggest nonsense I've ever heard in my life. And one of the things he said is that he was going to help out people who have student loan debt. Now, for those of you who don't know, although I'd be surprised, in the United States, college is not free. Okay, and it's not just not free. It costs a fortune, literally a fortune. You know, the average amount of debt, of college debt per household, I think it's in the 100. Hold on, I wrote the figures down here a second. So it was around $145,000, and if we're talking about individual average debt, it's $92,000. I mean, it's astronomical, right? At this point, you're just splitting hairs. And of course, in total, you know, the U.S. has a student debt crisis. There's about $1.7 trillion that are owed in student debt, which is, of course, an abomination, because no civilized country makes people pay through the nose to get higher education. I mean, this is stupid. This is, you know, college is an investment in your own country. You're investing in a future workforce, in your economy, and you know. Anyway, we've talked about this a million times, but nevertheless, this is the reality in America, the greatest country on earth, allegedly. So Joe Biden, this is during the campaign trail. I want to show you this video. This is from October 29th, 2019. And he's campaigning, and look what he says in this tweet. I mean, he says over here, paying off your kid's student loan debt can feel overwhelming. We need a president who understands that. And then he has an exchange with a mother here whose daughter is in, you know, has a huge amount of debt. Take a listen.
I'm 62 today.
I don't believe you. I want to see a license.
I don't have it with me. But I have a great birthday wish.
That's awesome.
Happy birthday.
And a birthday wish to me would be if you can somehow, once you're elected, to do something about student debt. My daughter's finishing up a dental program. By the time she graduates, she will be over $900,000 in debt.
My 3 children graduated.
I'm just going to mute it because of the copyright issue. But did you see what Biden's saying? I'm just going to keep it going. You can read the subtitles. I love how his response is, well, you know, my children also partake in this screwed up system. Isn't that nice? What does that even mean? And so, I mean, how depraved? $900,000 in debt. You know, in the UK, if I don't know if they've changed this. They changed, for example, in 2011, you used to pay $3,000 a year, and then they tripled it. So you would pay $3,000 per trimester, right? So basically, 3 years of college in the UK, it went from being $9,000, right? $9,000 for a 3-year program. If you're doing a bachelor's degree, for example, it's 3 years. You pay $9,000 for that. And then, so the UK except Scotland. Scotland kept it that way, I think. But in the UK, they tripled it, right? So it went to $27,000. And my point here is that in the UK, if you go to study as a doctor, certainly as a doctor, I don't know if it's for nurses as well, but certainly as a doctor, you don't pay any tuition because it's understood that you are valuable. You know, I mean, I don't think it's just doctors, but definitely doctors. And the idea is that, you know, you don't pay any student loans or anything because you're a doctor and you will go work for the NHS. That's the deal. You go work for the National Health Service. And he's like, well, you know, I'm proposing. It's not even like a certain thing. I'm proposing that some doctors who work in some undeserved, affected communities, poor communities, will get their debts forgiven. That's, of course, not happened, right? It's just a bunch of BS. Here's what Biden is doing. Now, I want to show you what he is doing. And one more thing. I'm just going to throw you another video. Here's another video of Biden. Okay, this is when he was president-elect. Take a listen to this.
I didn't hear you talk specifically about is canceling student loan debt. Does student loan forgiveness figure in your plan? Would you take executive action to achieve it?
It does figure in my plan. I've laid out in detail, for example, The legislation passed by the Democratic House calls for immediate $10,000 forgiveness of student loans. It's holding people up. They're in real trouble. They're having to make choices between paying their student loan and paying their rent, those kinds of decisions. It should be done immediately. In addition to that, as you know, I think that everything from community college straight through to doubling Pell Grants to making sure that we have access, free education for anyone making under $125,000 for 4 years of college. And there is a program that exists now under the law that forgives student loans for being able to engaging in public service. I'm going to institute that fundamental change in that so it's able to be available to everyone that in fact is engaged. It's not being very well managed right now. So I'm going to do all of those things. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President-elect. You just spoke of some of the dangers of...
Really? You're going to do all of those things? Where is it? Here's another thing. This is Biden with Colbert. Also, during the campaign, it's definitely before he was inaugurated.
There is talk of debt relief. There's bailing out of businesses, which is a good thing to do. What about the students? Is now a time to forgive student debt and then restructure how we pay for college so we're not here again in 10 years?
The answer is yes. That's why I proposed and the House, Nancy, put it in the plan to immediately provide $10,000 in debt relief as stimulus right now for students. A minimum of $10,000.
Where is it?
Also proposed that you, in fact, have, if you come from a family where you are making less than $125,000 a year, the family, that you, in fact, are able to go to a state university for free. And you get debt.
Okay, so I'm just going to cut it short and tell you that Biden has done none of this. Okay, this is what he is doing now. Okay, so there was a moratorium on student debt loan payments. So basically, you know, if you taken out whatever amount it is of student loan debt to pay for your degree, you didn't have to pay back the loans. They were frozen, not canceled for a while. This is dating back to 2020, and because of the pandemic, and also the interest had gone down to 0%, right? And so what Biden is doing now is, instead of doing this 10,000 loan forgiveness, which is already peanuts, he's not doing that. There's no student debt forgiveness. This is what he's doing. Take a look. Christ. Biden, this is from Forbes magazine. Biden won't extend student loan relief and confirms student loan payments restart February 1st. Isn't that nice? Isn't that beautiful? Here's Jen Psaki, the White House spokesperson.
The Biden administration considering extending that student loan payment pause? I know there's, if not, besides legislation that probably won't pass, what are some of the options that can help these people?
You're talking about the student loan payment pass that expires in February, just for clarity. So in the coming weeks, we will release more details about our plans, and we'll engage directly with federal student loan borrowers to ensure they have the resources they need and are in the appropriate repayment plan. We're still assessing the impact of the Omicron variant, but a smooth transition back into repayment is a high priority for the administration. The Department of Education is already communicating with borrowers to help them to prepare for return to repayment on February 1st and has secured contract extensions with loan servicers. So we are preparing for a range of steps here. These steps have provided, I would just note, more than $12.5 billion in discharges to nearly 640,000 borrowers.
Okay, I'm just going to cut it short. She's just saying a bunch of, verbal diarrhea to say no. The question was, will the Biden administration be extending the moratorium? The answer is no. Absolutely not. So this is what they're doing, right? They are screwing people because they wanted to get a higher education for the crime of getting a higher education. So where's the difference here between a Bush administration, a Trump administration, a Biden administration, an Obama administration? Nothing. There's absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. However, they did have money for the military, right? So this is dated 2 days ago, December 15th. New York Times reports the Senate passed a $768 billion defense bill on Wednesday, sending legislation to President Biden that will increase the Pentagon's budget by roughly $24 billion more than he requested. And what Biden requested was already the largest in modern history, right? So he's asking for a bigger military budget, an offense budget. It's not a defense budget. He's asking for a bigger military budget than Trump, than Orange Cheeto Man, the fascism man. Remember? Fascism bad. Trump has to go. In comes Biden. What does he do? More money for the military-industrial complex. But I'm sorry, we can't cancel $10,000 of your student debt. You can go fuck yourself, because Raytheon, Lockheed Martin, Northrop, BAE Systems, you know, BAE is British, to be fair, but they have partnerships. You know, we need Rolls-Royce engines to power these bombers. We need payloads for all these planes. I don't care about your degree. That's the attitude. And again, where's the difference? I mean, I really, if you remove the dates and I showed you these headlines, could you tell what year this is from? I have no clue. It could be yesterday. It could be 10 years ago. Who knows? Who knows? And do you remember the other thing, the $2,000 payment? And then Newsweek tried to attack me and Ryan because of this. It's so stupid, so petty. They're basically saying that we're lying. Are you out of your goddamn mind? Joe Biden lied. Joe Biden said $2,000 stimulus checks. He screwed you and gave you $1,400 because he's such a cheapskate, right? Like in the bad sense of the term. He's supposed to work for you, and then he cheats you out of $600. Well, God, do you think Wall Street would tolerate that? Wall Street wouldn't tolerate 1 cent being cheated out of. Okay, and here they have the biggest military budget in modern history. I mean, Christ, what am I supposed to say? Like, what do you look at this and what do you think? Honestly, so. You know, the idea that there's no money to pay for college, bullshit. Go to hell. The student debt crisis is $1.6 trillion. First of all, just ethically, morally, logically, you're shooting yourself in the foot. You need an educated workforce. You need to, you know, provide people. It's not even just about, oh, let's educate all these people and then profit off of their workforce. It's not even about that. It's just morally wrong. You know, it's education. It should be free in a civilized society. Why is kindergarten, high school, all of this stuff free, but not college? It will be one day, and then people will look back at how barbaric this whole thing was, right? It's the modern equivalent of how you had like public schools. Public means private in the UK, and you know only the aristocrats, the noble people, the rich people, the royals could afford to send their kids there. And to this day, actually, the public schools in England, I mean, they're so expensive. You just can't go there unless you're from, you know, you can't go to Eton without shitting money. But people will look at this one day, and I mean, people are looking at it right now and saying this is barbaric. But you get what I mean. It's just the wrong thing to do. And the money is there. And if the student debt crisis is $1.7 trillion, first of all, by canceling all this, you will stimulate the economy. You know, I mean, when I say right-wingers in America, what does that even mean? The Democrats are also right-wing. They're just right-wing light. But in American terms, the right in the U.S., they say, well, you know, you can't forgive these debts because it's not okay and blah, blah, blah. And they care so much about the economy, right? They care so much about the economy. It's all about growth, and they want to be the biggest and the best. Okay, but if you lifted this debt off of all these students who owe hundreds of thousands of dollars and who aren't crushed by this debt anymore, that stimulates the economy, which you care so much about, right? The economy, the market. You know, it's like all they see is dollar signs. That would immediately stimulate the economy because people would have money to spend on shit that they actually need. You know, able to start a family. There was an increasing number of I don't know what the exact age, the range is now of it, but basically people in their mid-20s, mid-30s who can't start families, you know, young adults who cannot start families because they're crushed by debt, student debt. You know, they didn't gamble it away. They didn't go get a Ferrari. They're just trying to get a degree because they've been told they need a degree to enter the workforce in the first place. They didn't want to do it. They've been forced to do it, dictated to. So In other civilized countries, in all countries, virtually all countries around the world, education is free, college is free. So there's no reason to do this, especially if you want to say America is the biggest, America is the richest, America is the greatest, America is the freest. Well, you're not free to go to college, apparently, because you'll be crushed by debt your whole fucking life. What did that woman say? Her daughter was $900,000 in debt because she was trying to become a dentist. How do you pay that off, even on a dentist or doctor's salary? You take your whole life to pay that off. This is Joe Biden, once again, being a neoliberal piece of shit, which is what he is. I'm not showing you these clips of Joe Biden in 2019 because I believe these things. None of us believe these things. I told you back then, it's a bunch of bullshit. And even if you were to do these things that he said, oh, 10K student relief, what is 10K? People owe, on median, as we saw on average, they owe $90,000 in student debt. What is 10K? Average household is $145,000. What is 10K going to do, especially with these interest rates? So in America, once again, you have an entire industry which revolves around fucking people, right? Whether it's the big pharma, it's the healthcare, or it's the prisons, right? They say, oh, you have to be held accountable. You have to go to prison. You have to do your time. You have to, serve your debt to society. It's not about any of that. It's about making money for corporations. They make money. Every jail cell they fill, every boots they fill in the military, it's always somebody making money. And in the prison, they use people as slaves, right? It's been called, essentially modern slavery. They have workers who go on strike, and then instead of negotiating a pay rise with the workers, whatever it is, for example, we saw last year I covered people who were basically working as trashmen. Instead of paying the trashmen a proper salary, what did this company do? They went and got people from a jail and paid them even less. And you can't blame the guys in the jail. They just want to get outside. It's a natural human, they don't care if it's 10 cents or 2 cents, but that doesn't make it right. So they prey off of them. They're predators. So there's someone making money. And this student, the student loan crisis, the student debt crisis is just like the healthcare crisis. It's just like the prison industry. Instead of doing things that benefit society, they're doing things that benefit a bunch of billionaires. And, it's just disgusting. And then they want to lecture the world about being civilized. What on earth are you talking about? You have so much money. How can you look at this astronomical figure? I mean, if you cut that just by half, I'm not even saying like 90%, just half, you could deal with the student loan crisis in what is it, 5 years? Someone do the math. You don't have to spend this money because even with this amount, even before Biden requested this revolting, bloated, obscene, incorrigible military budget, and then of course the senators, were all bought. They work for the weapons industry, so of course they want their buddies, their friends, to get thicker, bigger contracts. So they add to it. Of course, they don't work for you. Are you stupid? You're not stupid. You know this. You know that the senators work for the weapons industry. They work for the corporations. So they add to it. But even before that, even before they added to it, America has the biggest military budget, right? It has a bigger military budget than the next 10 countries combined. That means Russia, China, the UK, etc. And so even before, if you cut it in half, you'd still be number one. You don't need this shit. You don't need this. And my point here is that they can't come and tell you that, oh, we can't pardon the student loan debts. We can't forgive people for going to college because it's bad for the economy or the money isn't there. That's complete horse manure. And, I'm absolutely revolted seeing things like this, for example. I have no clue who any of these people are. But, for example, they're making fun of someone here in the pictures who says, let me read this tweet to you. It got very popular on Twitter. Says, Biden, I just got an email about my student loans. They're telling me the payment pause on student loans ends at the end of January. I'm going to have them email and call you because something must be wrong. I swear you told us you was canceling student loan debt. And then the next tweet is from the same person saying we're getting ready to land in Hawaii. I'm so excited for this vacation. I apologize in advance for all the pictures I would post. Yeah, whatever. Basically, they're saying like, oh, how can you say you don't want to pay your student loans if you're going on holiday? Which is like, what a disgusting mentality. Like, oh, you have debt? You must cease immediately to partake in any joyful activities. How dare you, right? Like, just go be a slave. Just go work forever and pay debts to fucking corporations and never enjoy a moment of your life. How dare you? Get back in line, citizen. Wait, what kind of bullshit, sick logic is that? Who thinks like this? Who's so, like, how miserable are you that you see someone else having fun, you have to, like, shit on them like that? It doesn't change anything. You could be a millionaire. You could be, you could have $10 million. And you still shouldn't be paying $900,000, whatever it is, in student loan debts because it's just the wrong thing to do. I don't care how rich or how poor you are. This is an argument that only benefits corporations, doesn't benefit society, doesn't benefit the economy, nothing. And so Biden is just being Biden again. He's just helping his neoliberal friends. He's just helping the same people that he's been elected to help. Biden has been, what has he been, 40 years in the Senate in various roles. Let's say close to 50 years in government now in various positions, vice president, a senator, now he's president. And so in these various roles, all he's done is help corporations, banks, credit cards. Biden's been a big friend of credit cards. He also used to represent Delaware, right? And for those of you who don't know, Delaware is the tax haven of the United States. That's where all the corporations go to register in Delaware so they don't have to pay higher taxes. And I mean, Biden represented that state. What do I need to tell you? So he's been a big friend of these corporations his whole life, whether it's the banks, it's the credit card companies. And one thing that is so important to highlight, Joe Biden helped get the bankruptcy bill through Congress into pass it into law. And that bankruptcy bill makes sure that you as a student, if you have student loan debt, you can't file for bankruptcy, right? How incredible is that? So he's done a huge favor years ago already, a much bigger favor than what he's just done now with finishing the moratorium, ending the moratorium. He did a huge favor to all these companies, these student debt giants, these companies that make money off of giving out loans to students, people who are just trying to get an education. He did them a huge favor, because he made sure that if you're a student and you literally go bankrupt, you're penniless, you can't file for bankruptcy if it's because of student loans. Wow. What a progressive. You really got to be brainless to vote for Biden. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. And again, that doesn't mean it doesn't mean anything. Trump, Biden, Obama, Bush, same shit. This is a system that's been broken for decades, and they don't want to fix it. No one's going to fix it. And you have the right. Again, I'm speaking in U.S. terms because both Democrats and Republicans are right wing. But in U.S. terms, the right, meaning conservatives or Republicans, generally speaking, especially the ones who are in Congress, they are against this. And the Democrats are also against this, are also against free college, but they just put on a smile. Well, the moratorium is ending at the end of January. Omicron, something. What the fuck does that have to do with what the question? What are you talking about? Where's the 10K? They won't even give you pennies. It's just like the stimulus check. They won't even give you these pennies. 10K, which is a drop in the ocean, right, of pardoning student debt. They won't do it. What bastards, honestly.